Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we'll be looking at Chapter 10 of Victimology, which starts off looking at school victimization. And the beginning of the school victimization looks at grades kindergarten through 12th grade. And we first see that the United States actually has the highest rate of school violence of any country in the world. And contrary to popular belief, school isn't as dangerous, though, as people think. Less than 1% of any school-aged homicides actually occur in schools. And so I think that society is just, obviously school shootings are awful thing, but they happen a lot less than people really think they do. And I think they just get the attention of the media just because of how horrific it seems for somebody to do that kind of. In 2014, we see that over 850,000 non-fatal victimizations occurred at school. And to go along with this, most violent victimization happens between 9th and 12th grade. We see that consequences of school victimizations can lead to suicide as well as school shootings. And from a one-year stretch from July 1st of 2012 to June 30th of 2013, 41 students were victims of homicide at school, and 11 were victims of suicide at school. This chapter then gets into bullying, which is any purposeful injury inflicted onto somebody, specifically somebody with less power than you. Some psychological effects of bullying include, not low happiness, low self-worth, anxiety, and depression. And we also learned that 71% of school shootings had been targets of a bully. This also gets into cyberbullying, which is any kind of bullying over the phone, internet, social media, anything like that. Some ways that schools have improved or tried to combat any kind of bullying is through hiring law enforcement officials to work at schools, as in like resource officers, as well as increasing hallway supervision, as well as adding security cameras. When looking at college victimization rates, we see that whites have the highest violent victimization rate, as well as females being the ones more likely to be sexually victimized. And again, just like in most things, we see that alcohol plays a big factor in this with college, just because when you're in college, you're exposed to a lot of alcohol, which also leads into the lifestyle and routine activities theory that kind of support this victimization as well. Campuses have been set up to where campus police and security measures have been added, though, to try to combat some victimization stuff, especially with security cameras and police patrolling the area and stuff like that. When looking at workplace victimization, this is any sort of victimization that happens while someone is actively on duty at their job. And this can range from anywhere from a customer employee incident, as well as just worker and two workers causing the victimization. When looking at occupations that have the greatest risk factor, one is bartenders, around a lot of people with alcohol being consumed and stuff like that. And then next is law enforcement, any sort of correctional officer or security officers. It actually makes up 18% of all violent workplace victimizations. It belongs to them. And it's also noted that professors have the lowest victimization rate. Lastly, for the end of this chapter, we see that taxi drivers and chauffeurs actually have the highest amount of risk, and it's actually 36 times the risk of anyone else. And this is probably due to the fact that they're picking up strangers all the time, and that there's not always a record of who was in what car. And so this kind of leads to their victimization and whatnot. And that is it for chapter 10.